Why do the numbers end up like a set of googly eyes at the top there? They always shift around depending on what number I put in. Anyway, we got EKA here in the blue trunks on Persia. Ban paid labor. This city is named. Doesn't sound like a city name, but anyway. So we've got Persepolis here for Smiga, the red trunks, Persia. So that sounds a little bit more like a city name, you know. Is that actually the Persian name of it, or is that the Greek name of a Persian city? You can never tell with a lot of these things. Like a lot of things from the ancient empires, in terms of like the Western naming conventions for them, it's usually like the Greek or the Roman name for it. Anyway, yeah, we're here on Arabia, Acropolis. We got Smiga opening Spira first, EKA opening Spira first. So this is pretty much a given on a map like this. So any of the early map control maps that you'll generally see early barracks on, you'll almost definitely see them on when it's a Persia mirror. Whereas, you know, some of the other mirrors, maybe Babylon or Greek, you might see players not spear rush if it's the mirror. Just because being able to, you know, take advantage of the age 2 anti-infantry potential tends to be even stronger. And particularly because Acropolis, people really only rush to try and control this early on. It's also the map where if people open double TC, they'll generally both just park them, you know, right here and then go for the dock as well. It's a map that can be very, very greedy, or a map that can be very, very aggressive, depending on who's playing and what matchup. But anyway, guys, why would you ban paid labor when you could just forget it exists? So, a few Spira here for each of our players. EKA's pulling slightly ahead on that because Smiga did get housed there briefly. Both of them with the house right next to the wood line too. So, if anyone's going to be interrupted from gathering, it'll be a wood gatherer here. It's usually a fair bit shorter walk time than to the first hunt. Not always though. You're also going to want to just park them there. And park these guys here. And if you're only going to 7 food gatherers, it's running a bit tight. Or 8 food gatherers. Smiga's up to 9 now though. And he's not actually on the herdable either. Oh no, he's on the second hunt already. So EKA. Scout's got a bit of a bruising. Smiga's Scout's actually of great health at the moment. But I don't think Smiga's scouted as much of the actual map. Smiga's only on the 5 Spira at this side and 3 at the top here. A little bit split up, but then again EKA 5 Spira at the top. A couple others around the map. But so far this has been a good fight for EKA, although Smiga, the defensive player, always able to actually reinforce his units a bit better. So now it's going to be pretty even because Smiga might be able to take out this next Spira. He's already got him snare locked pretty much. But the others will be able to make it out of there. But over on the other side, oh, Smiga. No aid tent yet. And this is a favourable trade for EKA at the moment. So Smiga's going to want to keep reinforcing here and maybe bring some stuff back. EKA. Also, continuing to flee over here. I think he turned and fought or didn't keep going while Smiga just kept chasing him. Ultimately, A-Tent, when this finishes up, I think Smiga should be okay here. He doesn't want to lose this guy though. So he probably wants to bring him a little bit closer to the actual storehouse. There we go, it's kicking in now, so that should help keep him alive. And Smiga going on the offensive over at this side. EKA only just now researching A-Tent, and the scout gets picked off by Smiga's scout, so it's very good awareness there from Smiga, who's also watching back over on this side, and defending well against EKA at the moment. Smiga plenty of food in the bank. Needs to get a little bit more gold if he wants to maintain his Spyro production, but EKA bottoming out on gold, also running really low on food here. And the hunt that he's actually on is under an immense amount of pressure at the moment. So Smiga pushing EKA off the hunt. He's got the quicker age 2 for the moment. And it looks like so far EKA's actually forgotten about these two over here, so they should fall pretty quickly. EKA trying to just check out how much pressure he's actually under here without committing. But yeah, he does lose 2 Spyro for free over here. Smiga population capped at the moment, so that's not good. EKA doing a better job of actually making sure he's not housed. But Smiga right now actually doing a better job in the fight. So 22 villagers to 23 in favor of EKA. Smiga well ahead on the Spyro count though. He's up by about 7 Spyro or 8 Spyro. So as long as he doesn't bleed too many of them, fighting under aid tent and all that sort of thing, he should be able to take a bit of an advantage here, because EKA's had to put this down really defensively. Smiga able to basically shadow his dock from the land with his town center here. He'll be able to get on that dock eco a little bit quicker. And I think maybe not at first, because both players are going to commit to a second production facility, and his will be actually Bowman. EKA looking to go for Asabara, but I think EKA actually had a problem with the shift command bug there, which delayed that stables going up there, because it just sat, the building was there, but there was nothing actually building it for ages. So that'll slow down EKA a little bit if that's the case. Well, the archery range is actually just about finished for Smiga. He will eventually have to commit to spears, but stables is actually only just finishing up now, and Smiga's going to see it before there's actually Asabara on the field, which is the ideal spot for him to be in, because he can already start producing his first couple of spears. Yeah, so he's seen it. EKA's actually transitioned into spears, and they are great, but bearing in mind, they're no tankier than Spyro. In fact, they're less tanky against the Bowman. Well, Smiga going to add his stables now, and may even hold off on actually making his initial Asabara until he sees Bowman here from EKA. Well, EKA, ooh, getting snared a little bit there, but I think the Asabara can break the snare from the Spyro, because I don't think the snare is as good as it is for the... Oh no, it is as good as it is for... Oh, he should have kept chasing. So EKA's going to get out of that. It took 150 damage though, which is not ideal for him. Smiga will be able to start going for spears in a moment. Not actually making any military. It's up on population though, so EKA 39 to Smiga 37 villages. Smiga with a little bit of an army advantage at the moment, but because he hasn't opened with stables behind the barracks, he's actually at a bit of a raiding disadvantage, I'd say. Because he's really only going to start producing Asabara now. Perhaps a tad late on the Spearman production, but his Bowman count's not really any greater than EKA, who had the later range. So I think Smiga... Oh, he's going to go for a dock now. This is good for him, I think. EKA's eventually going to want to go for one, or just do whatever he can to deny the water for Smiga. Because you just don't want your opponent getting it for free at the end of the day. The army pop very slightly favouring Smiga here. But he does have a couple of units out of the fight. And his Asabara aren't actually getting on top of the Bowman here. He's forced to retreat, so this has been a better engagement for EKA, who had a better Bowman count going into this, in spite of the fact that Smiga actually had a faster archery range. So Smiga's macro very slightly slipping in comparison to EKA, and now EKA pulling ahead on military. Vil counts are pretty much evened up at 47 to 48. Smiga now going to start on that dock eco. Needs to get these guys back to work though. He's looking a little bit food starved at the moment. But Vil production is going to take a hit now. EKA. Not yet getting armory, I don't think. Oh, he's going to start gathering stone slowly now. Attempt a raid on his opponent. There's not really a lot to actually go for over here. But these villages will be under a bit of pressure. So a few Asabara are going to actually run these guys down and defend. EKA trying to focus down individual Asabara. Smiga's got enough there to clean that up, but over at the top side it means that there's no Asabara to counter the massive bowman ball here from EKA. So this has been smart because Smiga's now got 5 Asabara sitting out of the fight, which would have been the perfect counter to all these bowmen. And the dock eco can't actually start if you go the heavy bowman route, because you can just snipe individual fishing boats. So Smiga's still struggling for food here. Getting a couple of ranges himself, but he's going to need to get a lot of spearmen and get a lot of, well, make use of his Asabara really well. These guys right now are guarding the gate. I'm not going to get a huge amount of value though, unless they can get a handful of these bowmen, and this is not ideal for Smiga now. He's actually having them intercept the whole army, and he could potentially lose a lot of them for nearly free. That's not great for Smiga, losing 4 Asabara for the 1 bowman. So these guys, 120 resources to the 50 of the bowman. EKA in a nice spot here. 55 vils and 130 total pop. So he's only up 2 eco pop, but he's ahead about 20 army pop. So EKA now making use of Asabara raids here, putting a bit of pressure on. Smiga chasing with a lot of his army, but on the top side of the map, EKA's actually pushing the other side of the lake. Huge number of bowmen still. Not a great front line for this, and Smiga's smart enough to stay back under tower. He should be able to clean under the town centre. Should be able to clean this up pretty easily. EKA just having to be a bit careful because he hasn't got a real front line for this bowman ball here, and there's only 1 villager for him to pick off up here. But Smiga's going to need to split his army up a little bit to try and deal with this. He's got spears, doubling back to try and defend the berries. EKA taking out that 1 villager on the hunt there, but there's not much else to be ascertained up there. And there's a few Asabara in the mix here for Smiga, so this is a big risk to EKA because he's going to lose a lot of these guys for free. So EKA's raid, perhaps a little bit too greedy there because he did lose a couple of Asabara, did lose about 12 bowmen there. Smiga down by 4 villages to his opponent, but that army size gap is closing a little. Smiga already having ranged armor kick in as EKA gets ranged damage. So Smiga slightly leading the upgrades now because they've both got 1 apiece, but ranged damage for Smiga is going to kick in before EKA's next upgrade. I think it was a good decision there to go for ranged armor by Smiga, while EKA now following up ranged damage with ranged armor. So our player's basically reversing the same upgrade. EKA gonna snipe another villager. Won't get a second though because Smiga's paying good attention here. Oh, actually, no, he will get a second because Smiga pushing onto the other hunt. EKA, a slightly bigger army here. Smiga's upgrade just about to kick in. But he's having to retreat here, and this is not great for him because EKA both has the cavalry to run down and the range to inflict damage from afar. So Smiga gonna lose. Both our players actually quite food starved here, but EKA up 30 pop over his opponent. only 3 villages the difference, so the rest of it's an army. It's not ideal for Smiga, but EKA, you got 2, yeah, you got the 2 armories going. Smiga only has the 1, so now Smiga gonna start trailing on upgrades here very shortly. Temper not far off here for EKA. Smiga having taken a quicker age 3 though, maybe this will pay off for him, but he needs to get through this next fight for it to do so. EKA fighting at 160 pop, this is where he wants to be, and he's got a lot of units coming in here now able to raid. A few bowmen in the mix so he can actually start attacking fishing boats, and a few Asabara so he can play very expansively. Denies opponent a lot of resources. Smiga struggling to maintain a massive army here, but EKA also, the foots come off the accelerator a little bit because he's taking age 3. Not a huge amount of food in the bank still. So even though he is playing fairly water-centric, even Smiga's struggling for food. Now there's no front line here for EKA, so... And these other units aren't really doing all that much at the moment, but he is able to keep rolling forward, keep harassing his opponent. The bowman ball actually getting a lot of value, even though we've got Takabara and Asabara out in the field. No real front line. Nothing other than anti-infantry here for EKA. Smiga's just not got enough to break that hold. And GG. EKA takes the game.